Golden. All right, good deal. All right, so thank you for letting me see
We need
this.
to have it signed. That's not what we want.
Are you sure your
This
sound
one.
is working?
No.
This is the one you're going to be.
Oh,
Is
wow.
it recording? Yes, it's recording.
Who's filling out this?
Both of us.
Okay.
It's not that one. You have mine because we're gonna sign it.
Oh.
We are both filling out a copy of that.
Yes.
Taking notes.
No
If you're,
problem with this.
if you're comfortable, go for it.
All right.
Yeah, but we're gonna sign in, so then it's gonna come back to me.
Right.
That's the second part of the how to run an IEP.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
We don't need that.
Wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Okay.
Are we
Alright.
doing a run through or? Nope, it's recording.
It's recording.
We
So,
can.
Are
can
we
start
all ready?
off.
I think everybody is here.
Mhm.
I'll start off. I am. Oh,
Here is the procedural safeguards. Did you receive these in the mail?
I think that I did.
All right, then we can start.
all right. I am Carol Dennish. I am Leanna's special education teacher.
I am Caitlin Guzik. I am Leanna's general education teacher.
I am DJ Krause, the administrator of the school.
I'm Leanna's mom, Mrs. B.
All right. Nice to see everybody here. The next thing that we are going to do, the purpose for this was the purpose you had called for reevaluation of Leanna.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the purpose of this IEP meeting. The next thing that we are going to do is the procedural. Which one is the procedural? That was this.
Well,
So
it
we
was
already got that
it was
covered.
supposed to be first.
Okay.
We already
We did the safeguards. We went through our procedural. Do you understand? Do you have any questions about anything in here?
Nope, I read through it when I got it in the mail.
Okay. Now we are going to go through and we're going to sign. This is me. I'm going to sign here. Pass it on to you. Oh, right.
Regular education teacher.
That was me. And that's me too. I need to sign it again.
So you would probably just sign it.
We're all here, it looks like. That's good. Okay. The next thing that we want to go through is the present level of education and functional performance, including the data charts. Would you like to start first?
Well, should we go through? You want to follow
Do we want to follow this?
the IEP or the
I think
present?
Because it says if you go by this here,
Mm-hmm.
that's the next thing.
Okay.
Sections of present level data-driven assessments are reviewed in the narrative of student strengths and areas needed improvement.
Yes. Well, why don't we start out with her strengths then?
Okay.
Strengths that I've seen in her general education classes as well. Very hardworking. She is very good at reading, especially she comprehends well with tape materials. She loves to read at home. And her oral reading is very good, so something that we could definitely work off of. And then she does have some strengths in math as well. Thank you. I see it. I just trying to remember.
what strengths do you think she has in math?
Well, like she said, Leanna's a very good reader. She loves to read.
Okay.
As soon as she comes home, she reads a book or a magazine.
Okay. But in math.
In math, I don't know that I've seen any strengths in her math abilities.
Okay.
She has all of the basic understandings of mathematic principles. Certainly need to work on, her comprehension of like concrete materials and any, money manipulation. We'll probably add that to her IEP this time.
Actually, I think that should be mine. I think you're the general ed teacher, are you?
Mm-hmm.
But is
You
this-
shouldn't talk about it.
But it, but
No,
is this,
like, you know what I
no,
mean,
but I don't know if that's, because if you look, I was just thinking about that. But they're all different.
They're all special.
They're all special education teachers, so
in here, so I guess I
co-teaching.
just
in
figured, yeah.
math
that
and
we
reading,
were-
your math and reading, and I'll talk about the other things. Go ahead.
Cause
Sorry.
no, that's totally fine, because I guess when I looked over the materials, I placed her in the, like, section 02. So she is in the or in the special ed classroom for at least 21% of the day, and then the
Mhm.
rest she's in general ed. So I figured I would be working with her on this kind of material, but
Absolutely.
correct me if,
No, I think you are correct on
Okay.
that.
so, yeah, very, very nice girl, lots of strengths. If you guys have anything to add to that.
From what I've noticed, they've been taking very good care of her. They have her best interests at heart, and this is really just a reevaluation to see where she can go further.
Has she been making any progress? 'Cause at home, I feel like she's not interested in any homework that's, being done in class, and I want her to feel like she needs to get that done because it's going to better her.
Well, I don't see her every day, but I feel like these two would be able to.
We can discuss her present level of educational performance if you would like to do that right now. Her reading is at a 4.0 or 4.5 level. That her age range is a 10 to 11-year-old age range. Her comprehension is at 70%, which is actually pretty good. Vocabulary is at 50%, and that's just to reiterate what you had said. She just loves to read. She has memorized her vocabulary, which is typically found at a 3rd or 4th grade level. And that's her vocabulary. She has difficulty using decoding strategies, which is like phonics and context cues to sound out words that she hasn't already memorized. She also encounters if she encounters an unknown word, she tends to rely on rote memory of the whole word, which means, let's say she sees the word happy. If she didn't know what that was, she would look at the H and say hello, because the H word that she knew was hello. So that's kind of what that means. And then she can answer comprehension questions, recognizing detailed sequential events and drawing conclusions. She does not make generalizations or inferences accurately. So if you were to say the red dog jumped over the fence, where was the dog going? And instead of something coming up with that, she'd say over the fence, because it's what she already knew.
How do I help that?
You can
with
use that. Say, if we go down the street here, where are we going? Like if you're going to the store, I know you guys walk to Quick Trip a lot, and say we're gonna go this way. Where are we going? And that's her saying. She's not gonna say I'm gonna walk down the sidewalk. She's gonna say we're going to Quick Trip.
Okay.
So different things like that. Or if you get in the car and you're going to go to Shopko shopping, and you say we're gonna go into the car. Where are we going? So help her to come to a conclusion without being rehearsed. Okay? She's also memorized her spelling vocabulary, but has difficulty applying regular spelling rules to unknown words. Like I had said before, with happy, she would look at the H and say hello because it was a word that she already knew, instead of sounding it out happy. Okay? She can add and subtract with regrouping, which is very good. She knows simple multiplication. She doesn't understand the concepts of multi-digit multiplication. So that's something, if you really wanted her to work on those things, I don't know if that's important to you for her to know those things, but otherwise you can just work on the things that you feel are important in her life. Because I know when I was reading through some of the things that we had talked about, you had said you're concerned about her future. After her educational, experience, what is she going to do, afterwards? And that's something that we will discuss later. But keep it in mind that, what are your expectations for her? What are you wanting? What do you want us to help you with? Because we will do what we need to help you out. Okay?
And as far as, present academic level of performance. I mean, that doesn't necessarily just apply to in school. So are there things at home that you think that we need to be aware of, her strengths and her weaknesses, or things that you would like to improve on?
Like I was telling Mr. Kraus here, I don't see very many strengths in her math, so I want to know different things that I can do at home with her for that. Doing math is something that she's going to need to do with any kind of job that she may have in the future, and I'm concerned that she's not going to get a job because she can't accurately.
Is it money that you're, because I know she has a limited ability with counting money. Is that something that you and your husband are concerned about?
Yes, the money aspect.
And that is something that you can work with her on, you know, and I feel as a special education teacher, and I work with these kids a lot, that it's very important for children to understand that if they go to a store and something is $3.25 and they give them a $5 bill, what change they're expecting back.
Yes. And I would like her to be able to do that and pay for her own things as well. I know.
And that is something that we could possibly set up a field trip with her.
Okay.
You know, as a special education teacher and her general education teacher, and we do have an administrator here that can okay that for us. We can try to set up a field trip where she would use the busing system. And we would teach her how to use the busing system and maybe go to Walmart. And she would have a list of things that she has to buy. And there is money in the special ed budget for something like that. To teach them how to, teach Leanna how to go to the store by using the bus. That, you know, you have to pay with a token or you have to pay with this much money for the bus, and then we'll go to Walmart, and so she can kind of see what that's like. She'll have a list of things that she has to buy, and then we will go to the checkout, and you know, we will walk her through those steps, and we can do that multiple times throughout the year if that's something that you would be interested in.
Yeah, and somebody will be with her when she's doing this, so that she doesn't.
So that's something that we can do. It says her daily living skills.
I'll make sure.
Make sure
Yeah, as far as daily living skills, is there things that you think she needs to work on? Like, do you think that she would be comfortable cooking, cleaning, that kind of thing if she were to, you know, I know you mentioned she wouldn't move out for quite some time, but when we're working on this transitional plan,
Yeah, my hopes would be that she would stay living with my husband and I until she feels comfortable leaving. She does love to help me cook. She preps everything for me. We have some concerns when she's actually cooking things. But other than that, she loves to prepare things with me.
Okay.
And you had said that she likes to sweep and mop and vacuums. She does all of those successfully.
Yeah.
Have you done laundry with her?
We have not done laundry with her.
Because that's something that we can do as a vocational skill, is teach her how to use a washer and dryer. We do have those abilities to do that at school, if that's something that you're interested in, so that she can learn how to do that. It wouldn't be the same everywhere, but you know, she would have a concept of, we would teach her to sort clothes, you know, darks and lights and whites.
DJ, do you feel that we have the capability to do that along with the field trip?
I feel like we have the capability to do the laundry. We will have to look into the field trip, but I think it's something we could easily consider. And I will let you guys know at our next meeting if we can make that happen for sure.
And it's something we could manipulate in the classroom too. You know,
And we can do that in the classroom too. We can have certain objects. I just thought with the busing thing, you said that you would like her to be independent and be able to go and do these things on her own. And I know that she will not be driving. That is something that you said that you didn't feel comfortable that she would ever be able to do that. So being able to use a bus or a taxi cab system is, I believe, is important for her to know.
Does she? I see that I've seen that she has trouble counting change. Does she have a debit card hooked up to a bank account?
We do not have one.
Okay.
She uses
All right.
ours.
I want to be sure that we're teaching her, if she needs to use the debit card, teaching her how to use that instead of always how to count change. But if she doesn't have one, we'll count change and dollar bills.
The only thing that I'm concerned about the debit card is because she doesn't have a concept of money, that she wouldn't realize that she only has $20 in there and try to buy more. Whereas with the hard cash money, she knows how much the dollars are. You
Okay.
know, and that's the one thing with not having a concept of money,
Yes.
seeing a number and computing that to a $20 bill is very different than actually seeing a $20 bill or 21s or whatever that is.
Yes, but at some point, I would like to get her ready to have a debit card once she starts getting into that transitional stage, wants to get a job. I want her to know how to use cash as well as,
Okay.
if
And maybe a
you're
checking
getting a paycheck.
would be something good if we taught her how to write checks, working on something like that.
I wanted to address that it's been noticed that she does fairly well with toilet training and eating on her own, getting dressed on her own.
Yeah, she's
Have
very
you seen any
independent.
struggles with that we could work on?
No, she's very independent as far as daily
Okay.
living skills.
That's good. That's good. Her daily living skills are pretty high. It says in here that you said you are not overly familiar with the community and residential living in town. Is that something that you and your husband are thinking maybe in the future you would be interested in for Leanna?
Yeah, I mean, I've lived in the same house in the area since I was a child, and then when Leanna's father came back into the picture, he moved in, and so we're still in the same house. So I haven't been familiar of different options in the area.
Okay.
I still feel right now she might be too young to be thinking about housing. I don't want to scare her, but eventually, with this transitional stage, if she's getting a job, I would like her to know what's out there for her to utilize.
And I don't mean to skip ahead here, but as far as the transition services go, are you planning on having her do any post-secondary education, or is it, when she graduates from our services here, that your goal is just to have her find a job?
I would hope that she would just find a job. That's something that I haven't talked to her about. If she wants to continue on with the education, that's her father and I would help her through that. However, I just feel like there's a lack of willingness to do homework and get engaged with that. So that's a concern of mine, is if she would want to continue on with her education.
Because we could all have a conversation with her and look into options for 18 to 21-year-old services that are offered near.
And it is an option with her mild cognitive delays that she can stay in the school system till she is 21. And that is something that is, as a parent, you can choose to or to not do that. You can have them graduate, you can have Leanna graduate at 18 with the rest of her class, or you could have her stay on, and then 18 to 21 is when we would really focus on vocational skills. And possibly, we could do a job shadowing through
Okay.
ORC. And do you know what ORC is?
I don't.
ORC is an occupational rehabilitation center. And what we would do with that is we would have her job shadow. And there is actually a job coach through the school district.
Is this
Then-
something I need to pay for,
No.
or is it
No,
taken?
this is taken care of.
This is part of her education. We have a job coach that goes with them, depending on where they want to go.
We have work-study programs that place children with a job that they kind of seem a little bit interested in, and then if you're okay with that placement, we will then go ahead and set that up, have them go through the interview process, all of that, make a resume, and then we will have somebody shadow them on the job coaches, make sure that they're showing up on time, doing what they're supposed to be doing. But it's a way for them to learn the responsibility while still having somebody to fall back on, if need be.
So I know you said that she loves to organize magazines, books, something like that, with like a library. Would that be an option for her? do you
Yes,
think?
that's
So
what
you
was
okay.
coming up in my head. She would love to be in a library setting.
So
Okay.
like the public library setting, maybe if we could facilitate something with them.
And I'll give them a call, actually.
Okay.
Is there
Okay.
any way she could help out in the library here at school when she's done?
We could
Yeah,
contact
Yeah,
librarians.
we
let's contact the media center specialists and see what we can set up with them. And then we will have to work it into her schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe during like a group session time, instead of her sitting in on the group session time, we could have her go in with an educational assistant or a paraprofessional, and she can do that with the media specialist.
I think that'd be great for her.
Because she has one-on-one help, so that would be a good time for her to do that, even if it's, once or twice a week, and see if she does enjoy that. Is it something that, even if she walks around and straightens, like she loves to do that, you said, straighten out the magazines
Sure.
that are there, straighten out anything.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
we could, work that into her curriculum as well. If there's numbers or letters, that kind of thing. I mean, that could certainly we could figure out a way that count for one of her classes.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, we can
Yes,
make that
very
work.
good idea.
Okay.
Another thing that, you were talking about her future, and you're looking for her to see her flourish academically. And it's something that we have to seriously discuss what her limitations are. At this point, you had discussed, do you think vocational schooling, you said that you didn't think that that was an option.
At this point, no, I think she needs to focus on getting through high school first, and then after that, maybe think she doesn't do well when there's so much pressure on her to get things done. So I
And
think
maybe
bringing that up would-
what we can do is, the school district offers like a continuing adult education, different things they'll have, like a pottery class or an adult literacy class or something on that line. And so, further down the line when she gets closer to 21, and this isn't something that you have to decide today, but these are just options for you as we're looking into our transition from, education out into society. There are these continuing eds that are done through the school district. And because of Leanna's disability, these are things, there are grants that will help pay for these programs.
And
I know that she said she would like to learn how to draw. Would that be an option for that?
There are
Okay.
painting classes and drawing classes. There are different things like that she could do. I mean, through all levels, there's very elementary up to, and we could see, and she is not in an art class right now. Am I
No,
correct
she
on
isn't.
that? And maybe what we need to do is try to incorporate an art class
I think that would be
in her schedule. Is that something that you would possibly be interested in?
Yes, I would like to see her.
And I don't mean to cut you guys off, but I did want to acknowledge that when because we asked her a little bit of what she would like to do, and she said she would really like to try to lose some weight. Now I know we've talked about an art class and a work study program. Would you like there to be some sort of physical education that she could go into, maybe a weight class? Would that be something you guys would like?
We've talked a lot about this, my husband and I, and we don't want her to feel embarrassed if she's already feeling those ways about her weight.
Okay.
Now, have we decided, is she qualified for an adapted FIAD class?
I don't think her physical,
She was not on-
Yeah, she is
Yeah.
all up to date or not up to date, but at her
At her
correct level that she
Okay.
should be at. So
But what I'm wondering is, because she is, she is cognitively delayed, we will have to look into it, but she may qualify for a certain amount of time a week
Yes.
to work one-on-one with an adapted FIAD teacher.
Okay.
Would that be more of your interest? And what this FIAD teacher would do is she would go right into the general ed classroom, and she would be kind of Leanna's one-on-one. And so, let's say they go to the weight room once a week, and she could show Leanna different things that she could do to help her build muscle and possibly lose some weight.
That sounds a lot better than putting her in a gym class. I don't want her to be embarrassed of her. So.
Right.
I will talk to the gym teacher
Okay.
about that.
Okay.
So, no
Thank
need
you,
to worry.
Dr. President.
from a general education teacher standpoint, where I love all these ideas, but we do have to make sure that she has time for her resource room and then for her general education classes as well. So maybe we could look at, incorporating an art class this semester and then next semester do the library thing.
Or we could do it every other day.
That-
We could do
We'd have to
Monday,
work that out with
Wednesday,
our
every
teacher,
other
but-
Friday, and then a Tuesday, Thursday, every other Friday. We could
Yes.
run on a schedule like that too, or we do by semester. You know, this
As long as
semester.
she's still getting her core classes as well, I'm okay with that.
And are you comfortable with her core classes, how things are going, or do you feel that she's struggling to stay up with everyone?
The only one that I would have any concerns with is the math courses, but we've talked a lot about different ways I can help her at home and that she could be helped in the classroom, so I think that it should be getting better
Okay.
with her grades pretty soon here.
And I have noticed that with her, she's very hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm wondering if with math, if we can see a greater increase if we did almost like give her change to count out.
Manipulative.
Yes, manipulative.
Physical.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm wondering if that's something maybe we could implement
Mhm.
in the classroom to help her.
And that would be something that, would be easier for you to practice at home as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because you could just use change that you find in the couch.
Yeah.
Even. Oh, look at, I found this change in the couch. Let's count it out.
And that would be a good way if she's cleaning or cooking or helping me out. Those are chores that she could keep this money for, and I think that would help with later on when she's getting a job and needs to focus on what to spend her money on.
So I certainly think that that would be something to implement in when we actually physically write out the IEP, is that we're going to work on the manipulation of, concrete items when it comes to math.
Yes.
I think that would be something really great to add.
Nice. Okay. Does anyone have any more concern? Do you have any other concerns about her present level or what you feel is going on with her future?
I think we've covered all of the other things. I do want to talk about her transportation to school with her getting of age, and I don't feel comfortable with her driving yet. Just how we can get her to school in different ways that are going to make her more independent.
Okay. The busing, I know that you had mentioned she's quite shy.
Yes.
And is busing on a general education bus too much pressure for her, do you feel?
I feel like she feels excluded and left out. I don't know if that's doing her being shy and not, reaching out to the students, but at this point, nobody in any of her classes ride the bus that she rides in the morning and afternoon, so I feel like riding the bus isn't a comfortable situation for her.
Okay. Another option that, like I said before, we could teach her. It's okay. That's understandable, actually. That happens a lot.
Yeah, no, it is.
Okay.
Nervous that I put you on the spot.
No, don't be nervous. That is actually that
Okay.
we have a lot of parents
Okay.
that feel that same way.
Okay. I didn't want to put you on the spot, and then I was like, shoot.
No, and we have been,
Okay.
as we had discussed before, we have the bus that comes through, and we can contact the city bus transit and see if we can't have something set up with her, and we would coach her through it, maybe the first 2 weeks or first week, and then like every other day the second week, or you could do the morning and we would meet her at school at the bus stop until she is comfortable
Okay.
with doing that. Do you have a bus stop near your house?
She has to walk a couple blocks to get to the bus.
Would that be something that you would be able to do in the morning, or do you not feel comfortable with that?
We could do that. My husband and I should be home. Otherwise, we can make other arrangements
Okay.
with her parents or neighbors or friends.
Okay.
Yeah, is driving her to school an option? Does she have any friends in her grade that you feel like she could maybe hitch a ride with, or?
She hasn't really said anything to me
Okay.
about anybody that she knows with a car. I think that's kind of her shy aspect. She doesn't talk about, what she does every day with her friends or like who she sat with at lunch, and that's something that
And 10th grade
concerns
is,
me.
they're just turning 16, just getting their licenses, so she's gonna have more friends maybe that will do that, but for right now, I would say that the bus is probably the safest way.
As an administrator and general education teacher, do you observe any students in the general ed population that may be a candidate to be a buddy system with Leanna? Have you noticed anyone in your class that tries to make contact with her and tries to talk with her that maybe we could say, okay, well, let's set it so that Joey or Janice and Leanna have the same lunch and we could maybe make a buddy system so then she could have something on that line. I'm not out in the general population enough to know of any students like that.
She doesn't have any, or like a best friend that
Mhm.
is also female. So I don't know what your comfort level is. I don't know if you've met any of her male friends.
'Cause I know there is a male who just during passing period and things like that they will talk and say hello. So I don't know if you're comfortable with that. If we set that up or we say, would you like to,
Or would you
I
rather,
think
would you
that's-
feel more comfortable with a female? And that's really your choice.
I think that a male would be fine as long as he doesn't have a record that's dangerous. He's a good person. He's helping her.
Well,
That
we would
sounds
never
really
set
awesome.
Leanna up with someone that would encourage her to
No.
break the law. That would be bad form on our
But
part.
I will ask him if he's
Yeah.
all right with working with me.
And I want to make sure he's comfortable as well
Yes.
with all these initiatives.
Okay. How you feeling?
I don't have any additional information. Did you want to go through the testing so that we can explain that a little more to you, or are you comfortable with that?
Do I want to? I think that we've touched on things enough with her reading and math and all of the other
core
subjects.
that you were concerned
Yeah,
about. After reading your notes, that was why we had thought that possibly those are the things that you're the most concerned with.
Mhm.
I know Dad had stated that he would like her to live with you forever, but he knows that's not an option.
Yeah.
But the transition into adulthood is often very difficult, especially Leanna socially. She's withdrawn. But I believe that if we can get her aligned with this young man
Yes.
and possibly even another young lady, if you know of one, or maybe you know of a young lady that would be compatible with Leanne.
Yes.
I know that she doesn't have anyone in the special ed classroom that she is attached to. When she was younger, she did, but now that they've kind of separated, Leanna has excelled further than what the other young lady had. But if you know of a parent that has a child, we can contact. You know what I mean? And I don't know if you have any friends that have children of Leanna's age, that you would be interested in having them. And that's something like you can think about those things and contact us at a later
Yes.
date too.
Hopefully with trying to implement some art classes or something like that. I mean, that is also a way for us to be working on our social skills. So I think that if we all really try and encourage her to make those connections, that something might develop. But for now, I think we'll just keep our eyes out for another way to implement that.
All right. Do you have any more questions or concerns?
No, I think we've covered everything that I had concerns about.
Do you have any questions for me or for Leanna's mom here?
I'm feeling pretty comfortable with the transition as long as you are. I think, we have a good idea of where to start, where you want to see her end up. She's only, 14, 15, so we have plenty of
We have a
time
few years.
to be working on that.
I know you think that, oh, I can't believe she's that old. I know that look on your face. Like, oh, she's a
So-
teenager.
I think we're fine
Okay.
with as far as the transition goes and like making goals for that. I think I'm pretty comfortable with where we're at.
And you think as the administrator, all these things that we have discussed are all things that could happen
I think
besides
these are all very realistic expectations of what we can do as a school. I did have one question though that I just thought about. With the work study program, if we were to implement that, would you want the wages to go straight to her, or would you want them to come through you first?
That's a good question. I think that if in the classrooms, both special education and general education, we're teaching her those skills of what to do with your money, how to be resourceful, then I don't think that the money needs to come to me or Leanna's father first. I think that she is very independent, and I think that she could think responsibly about how to use her money.
So then something that you and your husband can think about is setting up an account for her. And a lot of parents, what they will do in that is their name will also be on the account.
Okay.
And you can, and the banks are willing to do that here in town.
Is there an age requirement for
No.
that? Okay.
The only other thing is that when she is in the high school, it doesn't necessarily have to be work study. It could just be more of a volunteer opportunity. I could set up something, or you could set up something where she could earn like, classroom money, and she could use that to purchase like an hour of study time or something like that, an hour
Or an
of library
hour of
time, or a candy bar.
looking at magazines or things like that, or, we could even have, you could give us a list of magazines that she tends to like at home,
Mm-hmm.
and we can contact the media center and see if we can't get those, and then they can be set aside for her, and that's something that she can earn also. But when we're talking about, and this is where I think some confusion set in, when we're talking about job skills that we will be teaching her, until she is 18, that 18 to 21, she may possibly be paid. When she is doing job coaching through the school, that is her schooling. That is part of her educational
And will she
program.
get credits for that?
She will get credits for that. There will not be any money,
No money.
no money involved in that. That will be, part of her credits that she will get towards
Okay.
graduation.
But when she reaches that point where she could potentially be earning money,
Yes,
That
I
is
apologize
something-
for not clarifying.
no, that's
Yes.
okay that we cleared
Yes.
that up. So,
But and those are things that we can discuss at, our next meeting also, once we try to implement some of the things that we have discussed. And once we start implementing them into her program, we can further investigate what the options are. I know all three of us have some investigating to do to see where we can go with Leanna from here. Okay? And any other worries or concerns?
Nope, I think we've covered everything on my part.
Okay. Well, thank you all for coming, and we will be in contact, and we will discuss the rest of the IEP.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
wait,
Thank
we're
you.
not finished, are we?
That's it.
We still have to talk about like LRE and inclusion and testing accommodations, related services, transportation.
We did transportation.
I think we
Let me
should still talk about LRE and
Least restrictive environment, we kind of did that.
how are we doing on
Yeah,
that?
because
We
It's
talked
6:30.
about,
Yeah.
we talked about, her classroom setting and going, instead of having her, you said you wanted to keep her in her core classes,
Mhm.
but you also wanted to implement like an art class or a phy ed class. And least restricted environment, she's only in the special education resource for 12% of the day?
No, she qualifies for
21%
at
of the day, I'm
least
sorry.
21%.
So,
But she could be in either a resource room or special education classroom for up to 60% of the day. So if we want to be working on these skills,
60% of the day, we could do that realistically, and we could even work on her socialization at that time. If we wanted to have her in the resource area, if you really want to work, we could do that like one semester. We're going to have her, instead of doing algebra with the 10th grade class, we're going to bring her down. She'll do her level of math in the resource room, and then the rest of that time we will facilitate social skills. When you're walking down the hallway, if someone says, "Hello, Leanna," you have to stop and say, "Well, hello," or "Good morning." And if you say, "Good morning, Leanna," you don't say, "Good morning, Leanna." What do you say? "Who am I?" "Good morning, Miss Carol." Okay?
and that's something that I think you should obviously take the lead on in the special education classroom. But I think we do need to decide how many hours of the day we want her in your class, and then if when she's working with me, if she wants to have a pair with her, that kind of thing, just so that
And
she can feel
that is really
successful.
something that is up to the parent. I would keep Leanna all day, and I know you would too. She is a very pleasant person to have around. But like you said, we are getting to that transition period. And if you feel it's more important for her to have these adapted skills of her vocational skills and her socialization, because when you're getting into these 10th grade math, reading, science, social studies, there's a lot less socialization and a lot more learning, and there's going to be more homework. And I know that's a struggle for you at home, which I know that she has adapted homework right now, and we do adapt her stuff for her to
I've been
her
able to
level
modify
to modify
some
it.
of the material, but there are times in class where I maybe feel like she would strive a little bit better with extra help, extra assistance, someone to explain it to her, especially with reading. Because not all students do well with tape materials. We could think about some technology too if you wanted to do.
I think we could talk about that if that's something you would like to do.
Sure.
I know your class now has like it's a set of iPads,
Mhm.
but if we wanted, I think we might be able to give Leanna her own, so that she can use these skills not just when it's time to use the iPads with the rest of the class, but as she progresses her learning, she can then use the software as she sees fit, and as you see fit.
Do you think that we have enough money in our budget to get her like recordings on her iPad? So if the class is reading silently, that she could put in her headphones and listen to the recordings.
I think we're gonna have to take it on a subject basis. I
Okay.
don't know if we'll always have the money every time, but I think there are definitely some things we can make happen over time.
Another suggestion that I would have is there are pens that have recorders in them, and they're a note-taking pen, and they will record. And then what you do is it helps you to take notes. So the pen would actually record the notes, and then you can write and listen, pause it when you need to. There are those things. I don't know what something like that would cost. Is that something that?
I think those might be a little expensive. We have the iPads as of now,
Okay.
so I think we might want to start with that, and then I will look into that. And if in our next meeting that's still something that you want, I think we can consider that.
One thing that we do have to consider is the amount of time that you feel that you want her to work on her adapted skills, and the amount of time that you feel that she needs to be in a general education classroom, because we will adapt either way. She can have up to 60% right now. She's at 21% in the special education classroom. She can have up to 60% in the special education resource classroom, and we can, and now those are the times that we can incorporate even that weightlifting or different foods. We could have a foods class so that she could learn about different healthy foods, and we can try different things. And we do have a budget for that. Am I correct on that? There's a budget for that.
And those are
Okay.
great opportunities there too to be placed in the general education setting. I think I could see Leanna really striving in a home ec class, that kind of thing, because those are the best opportunities for her to work on her socialization skills and to just be in the general ed classes. And then in the special ed classes, I think that's the best time to work on those math and reading and individual
that's what
social
I'm
skills.
thinking as well.
Because instead of having her incorporated in those the general ed math and reading, bring her back and we can work on her skills and develop those a little bit more, her money counting skills and what she knows, instead of having her frustrated and feeling out of place in those classrooms, bring her back down to what we know we can teach her, and then work more on putting her in a general ed art classroom or general ed.
I like the sounds of that because then she can focus on the socialization. I don't want her to feel like she isn't at the same level as other students.
Absolutely.
And so I would appreciate that she would be in the special education room with you during those core.
The young man that you were
subjects.
talking about earlier, if he's in something like that, maybe we can look at his schedule and possibly.
Yeah, I know he's in a foods class right now, and so I'm wondering if we could almost pair those two up in the foods class and give them a connection there as well. Give them more time together and make a connection. I think we could make that work.
Okay.
Yeah.
As far as other services, I know that we talked about possibly a para. How are you feeling comfortable with the other related services that she's receiving?
I don't think that a para is necessary
Okay.
at this point of her education. She's doing all of those basic things, toileting, dressing, and
All of her living skills seem to be.
her living skills are fine. I think it's just more of not being at the same level as other students, which I don't think that a para would be necessary to help with that.
Do
I
you
like the
think
sounds of her going into the special education with you for these classes that might be more difficult than her. I don't think she needs somebody following her around. She, like we've all decided, she is a very hardworking and independent student. I think that she kind of needs that extra push to
Yes.
focus on things without somebody else helping her through everything.
Is like a phonics tutor something that we could look into as far as
There are programs that we have that are phonics programs, and typing programs
Okay.
to help her with her spelling.
Are those
Um,
things that I could
Those are
use
things
at
that
home?
we can
I
look into.
believe we might have some of those software to put on the iPads. So if we do decide to do the iPad, and she could maybe once or twice a week take the iPad home, and you could work on it with her there, I think that might.
Can we look into seeing if there's any sped money for that? Because sometimes, I know for another one of my children, there was money set aside for technology that we were able to purchase an iPad for him.
Yes,
And
I
I
will
know
look into that.
that some of the other teachers are trained in phonics tutoring, so maybe we could look into getting like once a week one-on-one tutoring with one of those teachers. Because I think that would probably be really beneficial for her reading and comprehension skills as well. So maybe that's, certainly assistive technology is good, but sometimes that one-on-one connection could be good. So I could see if I have any connections with that.
Okay, thank you.
I wanted to address, do you feel like Leanna needs extended school service or extended school year services? Because if you don't feel that, then we don't even need to address the eligibility for it. If you
Right.
don't feel that.
Yeah, I think that having extra time in the classroom would help her get
Okay.
these more.
A lot of times with the ESY, what that is the retention, and you said that she has a problem with retention. And what ESY would do is help her extend that period. Instead of having that 3 month of not having, instead of you having to do it constantly at home, part of the day would be spent at the school.
So like a summer school.
It's a summer school, ESY, extended school year is what that's called.
And it wouldn't be full day because I know you did say you want her to strive to have the normalcy in her life, and going to school every single day in the summer is not what 16-year-old children want to do. So we can do a half day if that was something you would like to consider, and then have her go on her way for the last half of the day.
And it's not even something that is necessarily every single day of the summer.
No, it's typically 3 weeks in July. Basically, it starts after the 4th and it's done before the 1st of August. So she has that, she gets done, we're done on the 10th of June, and then she has that period of time off. And then it's typically the Tuesday after the 4th, depending on what the 4th falls on. And then the school classes run Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to about 11:30, 12:30 in the afternoon, depending on if
Is
we
there
have.
transportation provided for
Yes,
this?
there is public busing, well, not public, but school busing provided for that. And that is, that's a special education busing.
But it's typically only going to be the special education students that are going to the school, so I would think that she would probably feel pretty comfortable with that.
And she knows most of the kids that do come to that program.
Yes.
So,
And I think as far as really enforcing that repetition, I think that summer school, I think that
Yeah,
the
there's
extended
only
school
so
would be
much
great.
my husband and I can do at home, and
Right.
I don't want her to forget all these things that she's learned in this school year. So I think this sounds like a good option. Would she be doing the same things that she is
Yes.
learning now?
and typically we do a lot more out in the public.
Okay.
We have one day that we actually go grocery shopping. We go to the store and we do grocery shopping. And then like the next day when they come, we do cooking. We do have one day a week, I believe it's Wednesdays or Thursdays, that we do swimming. So she'll learn to go to the public pool and what that is.
And probably pay there.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really, the extended school year is more applying.
Is this something that I need the money for to
No.
send her?
No, this is
taken care of.
all
Unless she
taken
wants
care of.
anything extra.
Right,
You
if
wanna
she
give her
wants
money
something-
for food or.
And we will allow that, but don't send $20 because I know these children and they will buy for everybody.
Yes.
Or they'll
So-
spend $20.
Or they will spend $20 and sit there with all this food. So, I mean, if it's something that, you know, and I know that you're concerned about her weight, so possibly, you know, that might not be something that you would wanna do. So, and that's really up to you.
I think we have addressed everything. Is there anything else you feel you need to address?
I think we've covered everything.
So once we fill out the, you know, actual IEP document, we'll just send that to you and you can look over it and anything else that needs to be addressed.
And please make revisions, and then just note them,
Yes.
and then you can send them back and we will then again amend it and send it back to you.
And please have your husband sign it.
Yes, that would be very, and, you know, go through that with him and really discuss the options that we gave you. I saw that you took a lot of good notes. And just discuss those just discuss those options with him that we have given you. Do you feel pressured? Okay.
Oh.
My husband.
Oh, well, you know, we are supposed to have one. Technically, according to the notes that we were given.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that ends our meeting.
I think so.
Are we feeling good?
I think we're
Yeah, I
feeling
think
good.